Well, what's going on, guys? This is Carl with the Racerred channel. Out here riding the mighty DRZ 400S. Let that guy go across with his little puppy dog. I sometimes wish that I could just hop on these little green belt things and ride on those. Because that'd be fun. The green belt here goes a long way, so you could ride it for a while. Massive amount of apartment complexes off to my right here. That is such a crazy way to live. There's a golf course. Every motorcycle rider's fantasy is to ride freely around a golf course. Golfing is an interesting sport. It's a lot of fun. I did it for a year. My friend, he worked at the golf course. It was a private one. We got to play for that year, and I was so bad. But that's really the fun of it. Okay, we go this way. I don't want to go into the city. I want to go around the city. That's a cool truck. I want to go around and get up on Hill Road, which should lead alongside this hill right here. Hence the name Hill Road. That doesn't make sense to me. There was a little book thingy over there with books in it. Instead of a mailbox. Not instead of, but in addition to a mailbox, they had a book box. Are we going to Hill Road together? Car? Could it be? Oh, there's a trail. That's tempting. I see a trail right there. That's definitely not for me. Not for me to ride. It's for somebody else to probably walk up to their something up there. It's not what I need. That's a good way to get beaten with a gay pride flag in downtown Boise. Just do something like ride your motorcycle around somebody's property. Because they will come at you here with either a BLM flag or a gay pride flag. They'll try to stick it in your heart. Don't do anything crazy. Crazy people trying to run me over. Am I going to upload this? I don't know if I should put you guys through that. Me wandering around looking for Hill Road. I thought Hill Road was near the hill. This episode's called Ride Confused with Carl on the Racerred channel. There are so many parked cars here. Is this? There's a cemetery, but this must be Mother of God. I've come to downtown. I didn't want to do that. I don't like riding down here. It's risking my life more ways than one. You got homeless people running around with their gay flags, trying to smack people with them. And you got a lot of people driving their cars with gay pride flags hanging out of the windows. I think I'm edging Hill Road. Boise just seems really densely populated. There's cars on top of cars, and there's people on top of people, mostly dudes on dudes and girls on girls here, but I'm riding the city of trees, Boise, Idaho. Don't run me over, big truck. Yeah, it's always a little... It's not always, but I find that little people like big trucks. Then there's me, literally driving the girliest little cars I possibly can all the time. because partially I think it's funny. Driven a Geo Metro 3-cylinder. Oh man, there was one time. So I used to carpool with my buddies when I worked in law enforcement. And so I picked them up. I picked my buddies up to go to work in my Geo Metro. And these guys are big. Really big. So we were all loaded up in my old Geo Metro. The suspension's maxed out, screaming for help. And I hit the freeway with that baby. Pedal to the metal. We're bouncing. The suspension's bottoming out hard as we enter the freeway. I've got one guy who's like hyperventilating because he couldn't breathe and it was too small of a vehicle for him. It was so funny. Anyways, I never could drive that car again. They made me drive my truck. It was pretty funny. I was laughing the whole way to work. But there was another time in that same vehicle. I don't know why I drove that thing. It was a crazy choice. Driving basically, it was basically as safe as a motorcycle. You get hit in that thing and you're donezo. And it wouldn't do the speed limit really. Pedal to the metal I could do 80, but it took a long time to get there. On a snowy winter day, I took my friend home. He lived in Boise, and so I took him home. And on my way back, so all the roads are just snowy, really snowy. And I'm on the freeway. The lane is fairly dry and sticky, so we could easily go, at least 55, 60. And that was the only clear lane, was the one that everybody was using, obviously. Dropped him off at his house. I'm going back to my house on the freeway, and the cars ahead of me are doing like 35, and I was so tired. I wanted to get home and go to sleep. I was frustrated. So what I decided to do was go into the snow lane and get that little Geo Metro revving. Get the motor revving. Got it up to like 70. Then I hit a gigantic snowdrift in the middle of the freeway. Threw me sideways as I was passing one of the last cars, and there was a semi in the front of everybody using the far right lane. It throws the whole Geo Metro sideways, and for a split second I freeze. I could feel time passing in such a way that it was like, it was one of those times where I had a near-death experience, and everything happened in slow motion, and I can remember each detail, like every blink. I got thrown sideways. There was a semi in front of me off to my right, and I was passing the last car, and I look over and I could see the driver in the car that I passed. I was sideways and he was pointed straight. And it took me about, I don't know the time frame looking back at this, but there was a moment of freeze, like just locking up, and then I started to counter steer. I broke out of the freeze and started to counter steer. I don't know how long that took. It was probably like a blink of an eye, but I felt the tendency to freeze and a conscious decision to break out of it. And I counter steered out of it and narrowly survived the situation. I didn't crash. And I put on a really good show for everybody driving on the freeway. Anyways, guys, I have found my way to Hill Road, and this is what I will be taking all the way to where I want to hit State Street, I think. Hill Road is my old stomping grounds. as a teenager, I would ride Hill Road quite a bit. Coming down the hill into Emmett, Idaho. Off to my right is Little Jim Cycle Park. You can see the trails up in the mountains there. It will all run again for the now, and I run on. It's gonna my kids and I'll be all about it. Me, Jim, and now, and I'm my kid with a lot of air. And the Brito is gonna have the rocks, much gonna my love, really, no matter why we're gonna what's gonna get the loose it out, man. I'm gonna throw on so it's down, and I run out of